how's it going? It's me, Teacher Jessa, and welcome to my channel. At this moment, I'm going to present special education. What is special education? Special education programs are designed to meet the appropriate needs of each child for those students who are mentally, physically, socially, or emotionally delayed. Physical, cognitive, scholastic skills primarily established through the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, 1975. The law was later amended into the Individuals with Disabilities with Education Act, 2004. Under EHA, all public schools were granted federal funding that provided equal access to education for children with physical or mental disabilities. Schools were required to evaluate children and create an educational plan that paralleled the academic experience of their non disabled peers. Under IDEA, well, they ensure that all children with disabilities are provided with the adequate services and resources necessary for them to succeed within and beyond the educational system alongside their non disabled peers. Here are some types of disabilities covered in IDEA. So we've got autism spectrum disorder, deafness or hearing impairment, multiple disabilities, orthopedic impairment, visual impairment, including blindness, development delay, emotional disturbance, intellectual disability, specific learning disability, speech language impairment, and traumatic brain injury, or TBI. Eligibility is determined through a process of evaluations by professionals, such as child's pediatrician or specialists, school psychologists, and social workers. After a student is deemed able to receive such services, their progress is annually reviewed. Yet, several studies have found that minority students are actually being under-identified for disabilities. Individualized education programs or IEPs. This is an individual educational program, commonly referred to as IEP, or written documentation required by IDEA. The main goal of these reviews is to ensure that the child is receiving appropriate and adequate services within their least restrictive environment. Has the number of students served in special education increased? Yes. The number of students with disability has grown from 6.4 million or 13% of all students in 2010-11 to almost 7.2 million or 14.5% in 2020 to 2021. Yeah, that's in the past decade. While overall 14.5% of public school students were served by IDEA in 2020 to 2021. That number varies by race and ethnicity. White students, Black, Hispanic, Asian, and more across the globe. A majority of special education students, 66% of those ages 6 to 21, and 5-year-olds in kindergarten spend 80% or more of their time in regular education classes, according to 2020 data. That number has more than doubled in recent decades. In 1989, only 31.7% of students ages 6 to 21 spent 80% or more of their time in regular classes. Some inclusive education here in the Philippines, as you know, we've got here the developing country. Well, it's still its advent in terms of implementing this kind of education. The 2009 Department of Education Order Number 72 defines inclusive education as the philosophy of accepting all children regardless of race, size, shape, color, ability, or disability with support from the school staff, students, parents, and the community. The more recent 2013 Enhanced Basic Education Act refers to gifted and talented children learners with disabilities, learners of the madrasa curriculum, indigenous people, and learners in difficult circumstances such as geographical isolation, chronic illness, abuse, or displacement due to armed conflict, urban resettlement, or disaster as target groups of inclusive education. They are taught that they are no different from each other. Side by side, they learn together, discover things together, and grow together. It provides appropriate education for all and the right to be respected and appreciated as valuable members of their communities. So that will be all. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.